Good evening, everybody. Quick notice before we start today's video. If you watched episode 100 of the Celtic the Thunder podcast, you'll be familiar with this already. You'll also be familiar if you keep up with us on Twitter. However, if you don't know, as we mentioned on episode 100 of the podcast, we will be giving away £200 to a charity of our choice this Christmas time. We've decided to go with the Children's Hospices Across Scotland charity, CHAS. And we've set up a Just Giving if anyone would like to add to the fund. There's no pressure at all for anyone to donate. Of course, at this time of year, it's understandable that money isn't easy to throw away or whatnot. However, we would ask a donation even as small as £1 to this great cause would be so much appreciated. CHAS do vital work for families across Scotland with children on end-of-life support. And they are so underfunded and only able to help 1 in 3 families who desperately need their help. There is more information about the charity and such in the link below, but the link below will take you to the Just Giving, where we have already raised well over our target. We were hoping to raise £500. We've cleared 500 already, but if we could raise any amount of money more than that, it would be greatly appreciated. So please make sure to go into the description below, check out the Just Giving link, and if you can help out, that would be great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and the festive period is slowly coming to an end. We've got New Year's, of course, to come round the corner and cheer us up a bit, but before that, we've got a derby. It's a derby that some Celtic fans haven't been looking forward to, but as usual, we'll take it in our stride. It's a very important derby. Who knows, it could go a long way in determining who will go on to lift the league title this season, but we've got a few things to talk about ahead of that derby. So, let's get into this. If you haven't already, please make sure to go and hit like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated if we try and get towards 50,000 subscribers. Your support recently has been incredible. So, inconsistencies with the videos through this festive period, I'm sure you can understand. Let's get back to normal. And let's talk a bit about that huge game on Saturday where Celtic take on Rangers at Celtic Park. Just to start us off here, this isn't my full-on match preview video. We'll do that tomorrow on the channel. I'm not sure if we're recording a podcast tonight yet or not. So it might be in podcast form tomorrow. It might just be in normal video form tomorrow. We will deep dive that game. In this video, I want to talk about some of the stories heading into that derby game. And we'll save all our excitement for whatever that video will be tomorrow. That's if you're excited. A lot of Celtic fans not looking forward to this. But, you know, both teams have had their struggles this season. It's going to be an interesting game, to say the least. At least Celtic are back to winning ways ahead of this must-win game against Rangers. So, a lot of previewing to be done tomorrow on the channel. But let's have a look at some of the stories heading in to that game. Now, one of the biggest stories going into this game has been the question of fitness surrounding 2 of our star players, Hatate and Abada. We've been wanting to know if they'll make it back in time for this game. Of course, when they both went out with their injuries initially, their respective injuries, there was a massive question marks over the fact that if they would be back for the new year, if they would be back for this derby game. And Brendan Rodgers has shed some light on the situation, giving us a bit of an update in regard to their fitness. Does it mean that we should be playing them on Saturday? That's another question that we will cover. But there is a bit of hope that maybe we will see them to some extent, maybe a limited extent for them on Saturday. But, you know, a positive update is better than no update. So this is what Brendan Rodgers did say following the win against Dundee. This was in the Scotsman. Brendan Rodgers said they could be around it. It's another thing being ready to start, of course. Liel looked really good on the field when he trained with the group last night. We kept him at home to do another session to build him up. We've missed his running, his goals. He'll be brilliant for us in the second part of the season. Rio is at a good level, but not at a level to start. We'll see how he goes over the next few days. He's training hard, working well, and it will be like having 2 new players when we get those 2 back. So that was Brendan Rodgers' update. I think that it would be very optimistic of you if you think that they will start this game on Saturday. And to answer the question that I posed a few moments ago, would I be starting them on Saturday? No, I wouldn't be. I don't think it would be wise. Now, I know we're talking about 2 players here who are of significant quality and very important to everything that Celtic have been doing over the last 2 years. You know, these are 2 players who have been pivotal to what we do on the field and the best football that we play. And their absence has well and truly been felt. There is no denying that. But I think rushing them back into the side to start what's going to be a very intense derby game. You know, this isn't one of these derbies that not much is on the line. This is probably going to be one of the most intense derbies in quite a while. And to rush them back on and get them on the park when, you know, we still have a team that's good enough to win the game, I think that it would be foolish. And I don't think that Brendan Rodgers is that naive to do so. Now, the question you can ask yourself is he keeping his cards close to his chest here? Is he telling some porkies? Is this maybe him saying this and then he gives us the biggest surprise on Saturday and both of them are raring to go, or even one of them are raring to go? Who knows? Sometimes managers like to throw a wee curveball, don't they? But I would be shocked if any of the two start on Saturday. I just think that it's a game that's come maybe a week, 2 weeks too early for them. But having their presence back in the squad, having them back at Lennoxtown, and even if they're on the bench on Saturday, that's a massive result for Celtic in its own. You know, that's huge for us if we have them as options later in the game. If you've got a stalemate, if you're drawing, if it's 0-0, 1-1, and you need a moment of magic, you know, with 20 minutes, half an hour to go, yeah, maybe that's when you can bring on a real Hatate or a real Abada, start getting their match sharpness up, and maybe they can make some sort of influence happen on the game. I just think that starting them could end up... I think that you've seen too many times this season, including Hatate, what happens when you rush a player back. I think that it's happened with a couple of them now, being the recent example of Cameron Carter-Vickers, who's maybe came back too soon, playing too many games too soon, and we've seen the result of that against Dundee. We've seen it with Hatate coming back, and then he was out straight away again. It happened with Vickers earlier on in the season as well. These things don't tend to work out very well for Celtic, and I think that's a lesson that has to be learned. That 11 that we put out in the park, I think it'll be the exact same 11 that played against Livingston, the exact same 11 that played against Dundee. That's still good enough to beat Rangers at Celtic Park. It should be good enough to beat Rangers at Celtic Park. But having those two as a bonus can always work to our advantage should they come on the field. Now, it does sound like that maybe Rio Hatate is a little bit further on. The fact that Brendan Rodgers is making comments that he's working at a very good level, just not at a level to start, whereas Abada, he's saying, you know, he's looking good, maybe not at the same level. I think that Rio maybe sounds a little bit further ahead in the recovery than Liel Abada, which was always going to be the case with the kind of sound of the injuries when they initially happened. But I just think that, you know, you bring Hatate, say Hatate does start the game, you know, he's got to be in a physical midfield. Guys like John, whoever starts for Rangers, I'm not sure who they'll start, but just for talking sakes, if it was John Lundstrom, if it was Todd Cantwell, if it was any of these players, they like to be a bit dirty, and there's no hiding away from that. And if anything goes wrong and Hatate's suddenly down 10, 20 minutes into the game and you're having to make a change, then there was just no point. So I think save them for later on. Save them when you maybe need that energy and they can come off and see what they can do. Come off the bench and try something. But it's good to have an update nonetheless. What the main thing is, for the second half of the season, these two are going to be massive for us. And I'm just generally very excited to see them back. It is a gutter that the game is maybe a week or two early, as I said. But having them back, you can't understate it. You know, I can't overstate it, understate it, whatever fucking one I'm looking for there. You cannot take them for granted. They're massive players for us, and I cannot wait to see them back in the team. Brendan Rodgers has also commented on our preparations for the Derby game as well. He was speaking to Celtic TV about how he's feeling ahead of the game. And listen, we'll talk about this more in depth tomorrow. Saturday isn't going to be an easy game for Celtic. There is no denying it. I think that Rangers have every right, and their supporters in their squad, and every right to believe they can come to Celtic Park and get a result. We haven't been anywhere near our best level this season, and we've obviously lost 2 of our last 4 domestic games as well. Rangers have every right to believe coming to Celtic Park, but it's that belief that Celtic need to try and nullify and try and extinguish pretty early doors in this game. We can't let Rangers ruffle our feathers. We need to prepare in the right manner. And as I've said already in this video and time after time this week, I'm just glad that we have managed to win our last couple games. It brings that belief back into our own side, that kind of energy that the fans needed to go to Celtic Park and see the game won. Listen, it's going to be 60,000 Celtic fans strong on Saturday. If that isn't the motivation that the team need to go on and win this game, I don't know what is. So, you know, my confidence has slowly started building as the weeks went on, but I understand how much of a task it is. Let's see what Brendan Rodgers did say about the preparation for this game. Rodgers said this: "They are going very well. We're obviously off the back of a really good performance and result against Dundee, so we feel ready, and obviously we'll put our final preparations in place. I'm really excited about the game. Talking about the fans, the atmosphere, he said that is the synergy of this club, that connection between the support and the players. When we have the supporters with us, it's a real force at Celtic, and we'll want that, of course, at the weekend. And I know we'll get it because this is a fixture that the supporters will look forward to. We had a great result at Ibrox, a good performance there, and now we're in front of our own supporters, and hopefully we can produce another good performance and result. And that's the thing, you know. I know it's a different manager and a different side you're looking at now with, well, not different side, it's the same side, but different manager, different playing style, different, you know, kind of energy that Rangers are bringing compared to whatever Michael Beale was doing. But you have to use that as your confidence, your building blocks. The fact that we went to Ibrox, we humiliated them, we got a result which set the tone very early, and that's the tone we need to kind of restore. So I hope the manager and the squad realise the importance of that heading into this game. And hopefully the preparations are all done and ready to go. And just to finish off on today's video, there has been a bit of an update in regards to transfers at Celtic. A couple of stories breaking today. The first one to talk about very quickly, which we haven't spoke about at all on this channel, people were asking in live streams, but I never really got round to it because I didn't think there was enough kind of, proof in the pudding for it or anything. But Fabio Silva, who was linked with Scottish clubs, he's on his way to Rangers by the looks of it. Apparently Celtic were interested. I must admit, going off his record in his career so far, I'm not too fussed. I don't think we're missing out on much, but listen, young guy, might go to Rangers, might do well. See how that goes. But he's not coming to Celtic, in case anybody's been waiting for anything on that. That's looking like that'll be announced at Rangers in the next few days. But there was a lot of talk about Scottish clubs looking at him, and of course at the level that both Celtic and Rangers operate, it was hardly going to be Livingston or St Mirren or anybody else in for him. So it doesn't look as though that's happening for Celtic, but there is talk that Celtic's first signing could be on its way. I just refer to him as it's rather than him. That was strange. Young Ho Yeon is the next Celtic player. By the looks of it, it's getting, by the looks of it, evidently closer and more realistic that he's going to be a Celtic player. Currently playing for Gwangju in the Korean K-League. It's another South Korean star that Celtic are looking to sign. He's commented on a move to Europe. This is what he said. He said, a move into Europe is slowly getting closer. During the last season, scouts from some European clubs, including Celtic, came to see me play in person. So he's name dropped Celtic. And apparently a move to Europe is getting close, and it looks as though it is us. So it could be our first signing of the January transfer window. Listen, I've not done my deep dive yet. I've only heard this name floating around for the past kind of 24 to 48 hours. I don't know a hell of a lot about him. What I will say is I can already hear the groans and the sighs of the comment section, because we've seen how these sort of transfers have panned out for us in recent times. Kwon being one of the standouts, Yang being one of the standouts. A lot of people getting sick and tired of these kind of bargain signings from the Far East. Listen, I've not established an opinion of the boy yet. I believe he's a midfielder. Hopefully he comes in to do something for us if he is signing. Defensive midfielder more than attacking. I need to do the deep dive, as I said, but it looks like somebody that Celtic are going to pick up reasonably cheap. Just as long as Brendan Rodgers goes out and follows this with these 4 quality signings that we've heard, or 3 or 4 quality signings, I don't mind. But it is a bit baffling when you think about how the last few have panned out. But we'll get into all of that when we see if there's more to it. I mean, who knows? Maybe this European club he's talking about isn't even Celtic. Just seems to be the talk in the papers and all the rest of it that Celtic are the club that he's referring to. Of course, he name dropped us as well. So, yeah, there you go. Keep an eye out. On that note, talking about the South Korean players at Celtic Football Club, it was announced this morning that both Oh and Yang have been called up for South Korea in the Asia Cup, which obviously kicks off at the start of 2024, which means we're already 2 players down. We could potentially be another 3 players down if Maeda, Hatate and Kyogo are all picked for the Japanese national team. Bit of a problem. Celtic need to get signing fast, so we know we're going to be without Oh and Yang, which means we're a striker down, we're a winger down. And then all the other players, of course, very, very key to what we do moving up the park in the attacking segments of play. Yeah, we need to think fast. A bit of a headache for Brendan Rodgers coming this January, depending who gets picked for Japan. Right, that does it for today then. Kind of fucking fast. Try to get through everything in a decent amount of time so you don't get bored of my voice. So let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Hi, like and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow as we preview that derby. See you next time.